an example of a screen that has a lot of rubbing on it. And it was all done with the watercolor crayons, you know. So let me hold that up a little bit. You know, this is a kind of test to see how many different textures I could get onto the screen. So let's start with these two images. These were actually made with printmaking materials that I had on hand. So this is a linoleum relief image. I simply placed the relief block, and I would never do this with wood. I'm only doing it with something as soft that cannot damage the screen, and that is super important. This screen mesh tears really easily, so be careful with it. So yeah, all I did was I kind of put that down underneath, and I can move it here and show you. I'll do a little, and I just, you know, rubbed my crayon across the surface. And it gives you a really distinct mark. And it allows me to, you know, put my screen against a lot of different kinds of surfaces and create an image, whether it's just texture or it's actually image-based as I have here. You know, that's really up to me. And I don't want to go too crazy, right? I don't want super heavy material, but I do want it, you know, to show through. And it's going to look pretty true to what I see. And I can layer these and go over it as much as I want. I started with this glove, and this glove was made with just this cardboard insert for, like, you know, the gloves you buy in the store. And I always liked it, and I kept it. So the thing that you put under the screen has to be a little bit dimensional. It can't be thin and flat like a piece of paper. It has to have some substance. And this is about as thin as you can go. This is like, you know, thin cardstock or cardstock paper weight. So I slide this wherever I want it. And, you know, I just simply drag my crayon around it, and it's going to catch the edges darker than anywhere else, you know, and I can control that the way I move that crayon around. Now with this particular glove, that kind of grainy texture that you see was achieved by sliding something under the screen after the glove part was rendered. I actually used a piece of really coarse sandpaper. This is 36, so super, super coarse. But because it's so coarse, I do have to be careful again with the screen, and I have to be gentle with it. So, you know, I remove this cardboard glove, and I put this down, and somehow every time I put this crayon down, I lose it. And then I'm just kind of gently rubbing it across the surface. I'm not putting much pressure at all, but it's gonna, you know, take to those high points in the glove. And then this was created with just this old stencil that I have, right? So that was just put under the screen and rubbed, and I liked, you know, the kind of bumps. I don't know if you can see them. There's little bumps on the surface of it. And surprisingly, even some of the text came through, which I didn't expect it to be that responsive, but it did. So that was kind of a nice little bonus there. This cow is just a really thick piece, and you can turn this over, which is nice, right? So I can use him in multiple positions. You can see where I just drew him, but that was thick enough to make those outer edges, and then into the interiors I used other materials such as this, which was just a doily. There is a limit. You don't want thick things. You want them to be somewhat thin, but the screen is flexible, you know. I could take this, put it against a wall, have someone hold it, and I could do a rubbing from, you know, any number of materials as long as they don't damage it, and really build up some nice marks.